All right. Welcome back to the day 3 hump breakdown of the Battle of the Bows Wisconsin Public Land Challenge. On this day, I decided to go way deep. I'd had enough of the pressure and I was really going to try to get away from it. But I was really starting to feel the heat as well because I knew we had some weather coming in. I was watching the weather apps and this looked like it was going to be the last day to have a legitimate shot to kill a deer because it was going to get ugly within the next 36 hours. And I figured the fourth day would be a wash. I didn't want to go back to the 50-acre public that I was on the night before because I figured I'd already saw the bucks that were on that and could have killed them, and I didn't think there was anything bigger there from the limited amount of sign that I did see. So I decided to go to a different property, go back in as far as I could get, see if I could shake things up a little. So let's take a look and see how that turned out. All right, third day of the Battle of the Bows. I'm just now on my way in. It's about 11 o'clock. I spent 3 hours this morning riding around trying to get away from all this pressure. And I seem to have accomplished it for today anyway. Today is Sunday. Another beautiful day the Lord has made. We have a lot of guys in camp from Wisconsin, and they said that the Packers play this afternoon, so there won't be as many people out, so that's a good thing. I rode around and found these two different properties. Today I'm headed back into bluff country. Gonna stay out of the wetlands and try to avoid the duck hunters. So I've got about a 2-hour trek up into there. I should be in there and set up by 1:30 at the latest. I'm coming in on an access road now. Just stopped to take a break, and I can see about 3 or 4 different boot prints in there. So there's been pressure here as well. Hopefully I can get back in far enough where they haven't been. So that's the plan for today. Day 3, Sunday, headed in. I'll update when I get to the stand. After several hours, I finally got back into where I wanted to go, and I was really pleased with the area. It looked exactly like it did on the Onyx app, and the structure was laying out perfect, and I knew I was going to see deer there that night. Deer were definitely going to cross at that point and come down along there. So I was pretty excited about that, but the weather just kept getting worse and worse, and the wind kept picking up, and it was swirling and getting windier and windier, and I knew that front was coming, but I still thought deer would be on their feet in advance of that front, and I knew that was the place I needed to be. So I got down in there, and I was right on the edge wind-wise, and I set up the B stand. I got up 4 sticks high, and I was pretty comfortable in the stand and got the camera set up, but the wind just kept swirling and swirling and swirling. And finally I couldn't take it anymore. It was blowing directly to where I expected the deer to come from and how I expected them to utilize that structure coming down through there. So I knew I had to get out of there because nothing was going to happen. So after just a very short amount of time, I yanked the stand down, and we'll pick it up live from the field right there. All right, I finally have a setup. This is my third one actually. The weatherman just can't get it right with this wind. I got back into where I wanted to go and I didn't like it. So I just kept going and going and going. I finally came to a slough, come down off of the bluff, and there was a slough I had to cross. And I had man tracks all the way up to that slough. But I got across it. The water was about an inch from the top of my boot. So it's going to be fun going back. Once I got across it, I started hitting some good deer sign and no human sign. So I got out to the end of the slough, and the bluff picks up just over here. So I've got some nice structure with the end of the slough here and the bluff here. And I hung the B stand about 30 yards up there, and I just got set up, and the wind just kept swirling and swirling. It was blowing right where I expected the deer to come from. So after about 10 minutes, I just yanked the stand down, and I come back, and I'm set up behind a blowdown now. There's a dead blowdown that goes out and actually lands in the water, and I'm right at the edge of it. The bluff is over here about 100 yards, and this water's right here. When I went up to hang the stand, there's 2 rubs up there. Nothing great, but there was a few rubs. But this sets up nice for a mature buck if there's one in here. I was just afraid to go any further. I was afraid I was going to end up in Iowa. It's going to be treacherous getting out of here. I hope there's no squatches in Wisconsin. I'm not looking forward to the walk out of here and going back across that water, I can tell you that. I did get an update from Josh while I was in here messing around, switching stands. And he found his buck last night, so we got one down in camp, and it looks like a good one. I don't know, I'm right on the edge here. My wind and where they're coming from, this is pretty much an all or nothing. If I don't see anything, I'll be certain it's because they've winded me coming across here, and I laid a scent trail 30 yards further than I had to. But when that wind changed, I just couldn't stay there. I had to come back, and there was no trees here. I wished I had the blind, but I don't, so I'm just set up in this blowdown. So that's the plan for tonight. It's all or nothing. It's going to be a day and forever getting out of here, so day 3 of the Battle of the Bows. See what happens. Well, the night turned out to be a total bust, unfortunately, and I know it was directly related to the wind. I know the deer would have crossed there, but I would bet money they picked up my scent because it was just all over the place and I couldn't avoid it. So that's what happened on day 3. It's unfortunate. When you only have a few days to hunt and you get a couple days of weather like that, it kind of really puts a kink into your plans, but that's part of the public land challenges. So I packed up and I got ready to get out of there. Well, that's going to be a wrap for day 3, the Battle of the Bows. Skunk tonight. I didn't see anything. Pretty bad night. The wind was coming from all points of the compass. And then some rain came in for about a half hour, and wind is still swirling, but I'm way back in here, so it's going to take a while to get out. I'm going to get going. Didn't see anything. Back at it tomorrow.